Like they want you to write an essay. This is why I want to be the coach of the Cleveland Browns, or
questionnaires, a multi-part essay, a personality test, and then additional homework assignments if you get through the first round to get into the second.
You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, let's talk about the Browns. Wow, my goodness. So, at the end of my day, yesterday evening, I'm flipping through and I decided to watch Tom Pelissero on the Rich Eisen show do a hit talking about the coaching carousel, and he got around to the Browns. What came out of his mouth did nothing but drop my jaw. And I was like, okay, so this coaching search is much more dysfunctional than we even realized. And it sounds like it's a whole lot less about the new school than it is about actual old school football or actual football. And it's about homework given to coaching candidates. It's about writing essays. What? What grade are we in exactly? And you're finding out now exactly why they can't get real competent candidates, why a John Harbaugh didn't really give them much play at all, because I'm sure he heard the process and was like, go bleep yourself. Sean McDermott, who knows? But I'm sure he'd be like, nah. We know now. Mike McDaniel, by the way, all this stuff, they sent him home after the initial interview, gave him homework. You notice how many of these coaches are like second interviews? Nah, we're good. Jesse Minter, nah, we're good. Oh, but they took other jobs, Rhodes. Oh, but Jimmy Haslam can outbid everybody if he chooses to. I don't want to hear you can't get a candidate because it's the owner that can drive the ship in hiring coaches from a monetary standpoint. An extra $5 million a year. Well, Rhodes, that's too much. In Cleveland? No, it's not. No, it's not. Some call it the shit tax. A lot of reaction on social media. Nobody wants to be our coach. Yes, Grant Udinski did have his second in-person interview. Well, his second interview. It was the first one in person. Todd Monken, folks, has had a second interview here. Todd Monken. He hasn't been a candidate for any other franchise, to my knowledge, at all. Jim Schwartz is still in play. I think this thing's going to end up being a combination of Jim Schwartz as head coach and one of these young guys as offensive coordinator, or one of these young guys as head coach and Jim Schwartz staying on as defensive coordinator. I understand wanting to keep Jim Schwartz around. And at this point, I mean, I almost think you hire him as the head coach. But now we know. Now we know why there's no Mike McDaniel. Why? But I mean, they've probably told their agents, don't bother with this bullshit. As part of the Browns head coaching interview process, candidates must do an essay, personality test, and homework. Per Tom Pelissero. Let's listen.
Jimmy Haslam bristled at the Browns front office and operation being termed dysfunctional. That said, we're sitting here the Friday before championship weekend. The job is still open from the first Monday of the coaching cycle. Word is they are not Rooney Rule compliant. They cannot hire somebody right now. The Bills might be looking at somebody that they want to hire. The Bills are already Rudy Rule compliant. Their job's been open a fraction of the time, and we're reading about people pulling their names out of consideration for the Browns head coaching job. What is happening there, Tom Pelissero?
First of all, I would say Andrew Berry is the last person who is just going to interview somebody solely to fulfill the Rooney Rule.
Correct.
If he's conducting an interview, he wants it to be with someone who's a real candidate. Mike McDaniel would have fulfilled that. He decided that he just didn't want to follow through on that job coming off of his initial Zoom here. So that's one factor. You're right. They're the only team that has not conducted a single qualifying interview.
Okay, number one, it's a BS rule anyway. Number two, this isn't tiddlywinks. I mean, this is the real world. Do guys want to interview to try to, of course, with this interview process, I kind of get saying no. But look, when the Patriots wanted Mike Vrabel, and it was clear they wanted Mike Vrabel, they got Thomas Brown and Byron Leftwich. They interviewed him first thing, got it out of the way.
That'll change, or is scheduled to change next week when they.
You get that thing, you get that Rooney Rule thing out of the way quick. And if you like one of the candidates, that's fine.
Have a second interview with Nate Scheelhaus from the Rams. I would just say this. The Browns search process and interview process, which they have run a number of times, is unlike any other in the NFL. And it plays to certain types of candidates. They are a data-driven operation in Cleveland. And so they spend an extraordinary amount of time gathering data on their coaching candidates. You're talking about taking a personality test. You're talking about writing an essay. You're talking about completing homework assignments going into both the first and the second rounds of interviews. It plays toward the types of candidates that they have in the mix, which is very, very smart people in a lot of cases that just often happen to be tall, thin guys who came from Ivy League schools, so that's certainly not a requirement. That's the type of candidate generally that is going to fit into a data-driven environment. So
there's a written test? There's a written test, huh? Really? Like they want you to write an essay? This is why I want to be the coach of the Cleveland Browns? Or
questionnaires, a multi-part essay, a personality test, and then additional homework assignments if you get through the first round to get into the second round. Which you can imagine then.
The answer can't be Google me? Like you can't go Signetti? I know I'm being flippant, Tom, but that to me, I don't know.
Google me, bro.
You're hopping around the country interviewing for jobs, kids, spouses, boxes being packed because you've hit the road and you're going to sit down and write an essay? You could
imagine then when certain candidates decide not to follow through on interviews, part of it may be that it's more than just show up in a nice suit and answer questions in the room. And that speaks to how the Browns organization operates.
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. That's a total joke. That is ridiculous. It is. You're talking about grown men in the football world. Okay? And they got them coming in there like it's fucking Walmart. Sit down, take a personality test. Fill out this clever little training hiring set. I mean, come on, guys. You're dealing with alpha males with egos and I mean, mother effing players out on the field. X's and O's. This is wild. It really is wild. I heard this and was like, this is why you fire Andrew Berry if you're going to fire Kevin Stefanski. This only plays to a very small group of potential candidates. And let's be real. Younger, in other words, candidates that aren't getting a hell of a lot of play elsewhere. I mean, yeah, look, people want to kind of take a look at Scheelhaus, and I get Udinski. He's potentially a guy. I get it. And there's a world where blind squirrel finds a nut, and this actually works. But this is why you're not getting real dudes in there to interview for this Browns gig. The dudes ain't got. You heard Rich Eisen. Guys got kids and the blah blah blah, and they're trying to. You can't have them come in and sit down and interview them for 2 hours and talk about football. You know what I hate about this the most? You're not hearing a hell of a lot about football. This is some Ivy League dog shit. Wow. Wow. I mean, it's amazing. The Browns have somehow made themselves look even more dysfunctional. And Jimmy Haslam don't like that. Bleep off. Who cares? It is what it is. If the shoe fit, wear it. This is how they came to, by the way, this is how they came to trading the house for Deshaun Watson. They fed everything into a computer and bloop, the analytics came out and said, Deshaun Watson, all-time quarterback. Give him $230 million. I shit you not. The organizations like the Browns at some point is literally, they're going to have AI calling plays. Tell me what you think. Wow. 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 Son of a bitch. Like, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're still subscribed. Try not to scoop out your eyeballs with a spoon watching that mess come out of Tom Pelissero's mouth. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.